All right. Well, hello, everyone. It's Sybil Starr here to talk about the Pisces full moon that is coming up on September 1st at 10:21 p.m. at 10 degrees of Pisces. Um, at what did I say, 10:21 p.m. Pacific at 10 degrees of Pisces, right, on September 1st. And so Pisces is a sign of a lot of water. And that's why we're sitting in front of the Nile River today. It is so nice to feel the energy of the water in the midst of all the heat that we are having. So here I am. I'm going to show you, I'm going to screen share for just a minute and show you the chart of the new moon, or the full moon, I mean. Okay, so it's the full moon, and show you what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so here is the moon over here. It's 10 degrees, 12 minutes of Pisces. It's in a wide conjunction with Neptune, and it's also in a conjunction with Ceres, one of the mother goddesses. Okay, and so Neptune is actually the ruler of Pisces, so this makes it extra strong. And the moon really likes to be in Pisces. It's a very dreamy, watery, imaginative kind of an energy. And it's opposite the sun in Virgo. A full moon always occurs when the sun is opposite, because the moon herself has no light. She's reflecting the light of the sun. So it is a balance between the energy of Virgo and Pisces. Okay, and this energy is one of what I like to call the practical mystic. The Neptune and Pisces are very much a mystical kind of an energy, whereas Virgo is very grounded, very practical in this real world. So it's about walking of the mystical path with practical feet, of how you can bring that mystical, spiritual energy into this world to create change. Okay. All right. The next thing I'm going to be talking about, and this sun is actually in a trine to Uranus, and the moon is sextile it. So Uranus and Taurus is also very involved. And Uranus brings in change, brings in a lot of earth energy, earth consciousness. And there's also 5 planets in earth signs. There's the sun, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, and Uranus. And so Mother Earth is very present here. It's about being grounded, being present in the moment, being in your body, even if you're having mystical experiences, about being in your body as you're doing that. Okay, all right. So one more thing before I talk about Pisces, and that is the Sabian symbol for this full moon, and it is men traveling a narrow path seeking illumination, which I thought was very apropos, as the full moon very much brings illumination. It is the light that it brings light in the darkness. Okay, so there's a great potential for illumination, and Virgo can be very much about walking a narrow path, really watching our step, being careful. Okay, and full moons always also bring in the energy of illumination. Now I'm calling this video a new earth, dreaming a new world into being. You know, as Neptune and Pisces are very otherworldly, traveling in other dimensions, and they're both the signs of dreams. And you know, as our elders, our indigenous elders have been telling us, that we are dreaming this world into being, and we are dreaming the wrong dream. And so as the old dream is actually crumbling, it is time, the energy is ripe to dream a new world into being. And Pisces is that energy that takes us. Pisces and Neptune both are a big piece of of the quantum field, that place in our consciousness where everything is possible, and where we are all connected, where we are all one. It is that part of us that remembers that we are all one, part of spirit. And so it is very much about unity consciousness. Neptune traveling through Pisces during this, 14-year period, it is reminding us of unity consciousness and that we are all one and we are all connected to Creator. And we are just a part of us that when we slip on these skins, that we come down here to be individuated, but there is a part of us that is always still connected to all that is, and that is the part of us that is really activated right now. And Neptune is also about water, and it's about the flow. And like I said, I'm here in front of the Nile River, and the river flows. And being part of that flow and recognizing that it's often feared that it kind of throws obstacles in our ways and takes us out of the flow. We're kind of like a surfer right now as they're on that surfboard, kind of balancing their weight and being in the flow. But if they go into their mind, they fall off. And we're in that place right now. So it's very much about being present in the flow, surrendering to that flow, to what is and to all that is. Now, as I talk about Neptune being the field of all possibility, it is that field where all of creation happens and miracles happen. Our minds believe things can only be one way, but Neptune is showing us and helping us understand. Neptune is helping us understand that the nature of reality is so much different than what we have believed, and it is opening up and expanding our consciousness. And I just want to share a story that happened here in Sonoma County, where I'm at. We've had some terrible fires, and these fires came from some unexpected lightning storms. They were called dry lightning. And came with no water, just thunder and lightning, and started fires. And the fires were catastrophic here, and they were getting very close to our sacred woods called Armstrong Woods. It's a old growth redwood forest, and we were getting very scared. It was right there at the edge of the forest, of the woods. And one of our community members called a impromptu emergency prayer meeting, and the prayer meeting was actually a ceremony, and many people joined. It was online and led by a very powerful priestess in North Carolina, and the ceremony was the elemental mothers. It was the ceremony of the elemental mothers, calling in the mothers of the air and the air, the fire, the water, and the earth, and calling in these elemental mothers of Mother Earth, these nature spirits, to bring in the rain. Because we had this storm coming, and there was another storm where they were predicting the dry lightning again, but there was a chance of rain. And so everyone was just really holding that prayer for rain. And so during this ceremony, there was probably about 50 people there participating. It was very powerful. And during the ceremony, the rain started coming in. We got messages that the rain was coming in first in Santa Cruz. It came up the coast. It went to the peninsula. It then went to San Francisco, then went up to Mill Valley, which is in Marin. All these places that San Francisco wasn't having fire, but these other places were. And so, of course, here in Sonoma County, we assumed that it would be right here, and I stayed up a little while. It hadn't come, and it hadn't come. And I woke up the next morning and thought, oh my gosh, we didn't get it. And then I went online and I saw this. I want to share it with you. It was radar. There was a band of rain that came through Sonoma County. And it didn't, as you see all these areas down here, there was no rain. But the path the rain took was directly in the line of the fire. That is the only place that got rain, is where the fires were in this path. Well, and a few other little patches, but this was the rain of, this was the path of the fire. And I just found that just so miraculous that the rain went right to the fire. And the thing is that it turned the course of the fire. It gave the firemen the edge that they needed to turn it. And then what happened is even more amazing. They turned the fire away. The fire did get into the floor of the forest, and the firemen were able to turn it into a controlled fire where it burned the undergrowth and actually fertilized the soil. And this is one of the ways the redwoods fertilize, is through fire. They've got a special relationship with fire. And so I feel like, you know, miracles happen all the time. And as I was discussing this with a friend, she said, you know, that's working in 5D consciousness. That's creating. And that's what I want to, that's what I feel this energy is about. It is waking us up to the fact that we are creators. And what we need now is more ceremony, not less. We need more prayer groups. We need more meditation groups, people working together with an intention to create a new world, because it is coming. The old is falling apart and the new is coming, and it is about working together to visualize and work together to bring it into being, to dream the new dream, okay, to dream the new world into being. And it's also about a need to keep our vibration high, because when we are working in these realms, our vibration needs to align with these higher vibrations to bring in the world we want, not the old world. And so I just feel like that's what this is really about. And of course, there's many challenging things going on, but this is really important to remember. Something else that is going on at this full moon is that the planet Mercury is opposing Neptune. I didn't show that to you in the chart, but it is. And Mercury is the god of the mind. And once again, Neptune in its highest form is what's called the heart, the divine heart. Is the unconditional love of the universe. But it can also bring in fog and confusion and illusion and delusion and all of these things. And so, of course, we are finding in our world there's so many lies, there's so much misinformation and disinformation. And Mercury in Virgo says to me, it's very much about discrimination and discernment. It's using our own discernment, which takes critical thinking skills combined with intuition. There's so much censoring going on now. We even need to fact check the fact checkers, because the fact checkers are paid. They're employed by someone, and it's someone to whom they have a certain narrative that they're aligned with. They're not independent, and it's so important to remember that. The corruption of the media is high, and so it's really important. The main thing is it's really important to use our own discernment and our critical thinking skills and to follow those threads of truth. And one of the other important things to remember is, there's a level of cognitive dissonance. When information is put out there and it does not align with our beliefs, it can actually almost hurt. And I heard someone say this, and it really kind of landed as such big truth to me. She said, "Do you see what you believe, or do you believe what you see?" And kind of hold that in your heart, because so many times that's what we do is we have a belief and we want what we see to line up with it. And when it doesn't, we cannot believe it, or and that's usually what happens. And it can even, like I said, be very upsetting. So it's really important to have an open mind and to recognize that we are in times of a lot of misinformation, but we're also in times when great miracles and anything is possible. So it's always important to walk into something with an open mind and know that truth can lie in the most unexpected places. There's a bit of truth, there's a kernel of truth in almost everything. And so it's important to have an open mind and seek that even if it's just a small piece, a kernel of truth. Okay. And of course, the really big energy is that Mars energy. Let me go back to that, to the chart. I didn't actually point that out, and I want to talk about that just a little bit here. All right. So here we have Mars. Mars is the warrior right here, okay? And it's the universal symbol for the male, okay? And it's conjunct Black Moon Lilith and Eris. And these are all warrior symbols, it's a warrior is a protector, is the one that draws the line in the sand and says, no, no more. This is, it's about standing up for ourselves. It's very much about standing up for ourselves. Mars can also be our direction in life, action, passion, desire, and how we use our will. When Mars is active, conflicts can arise, and often they are because there are situations that are unresolved that need to be dealt with. We like to live in harmony, but things are not in harmony. And so there's situations we just simply often have to deal with. Now, Mars goes retrograde on September 9th, and it's going to be retrograde for about 2 months. It's going to be retrograde from the 9th from September 9th to November 13th. And Mars retrograde takes that energy inward. And so it kind of slows it down, which is actually a good thing because Mars in Aries is very explosive. This is very explosive energy. So when it takes it inward, we can actually feel it more strongly, but it also kind of makes us think before we act. So it's not quite as explosive, and it's also about reevaluating our direction. Yes. Now, Mars is in a square to this Pluto-Saturn conjunction, which is, the really big thing that we have been dealing with, which is about the use and the abuse of power. Mars is also in a square to Venus, which has to do with our relationships. And Jupiter is also involved, but not quite as much right at this moment. Okay. And so what I see happening really, it is about the use and abuse of power. And we're seeing uprisings and civil unrest everywhere. We can feel it. Mars in Aries is really about courage. It's always about courage. And to have courage, it brings up fear. We're asked to walk through our fears. And with this much Mars energy, Mars brings a challenge. The fear and the anxiety and the anger, everything, we've had, like I said, so much fire here in California. And there's fires everywhere. There's fires all over the West. And, it feels to me like, especially with this Mars retrograde, it is so much about looking within also to see where we are contributing to this fire. Because, it's as within, so without. This explosive energy that we're seeing in the outer world is happening within us. And so Mars retrograde asks us to really look within and see what's being triggered and how are we contributing to this fire. And Venus is about our relationships. I'm seeing so much divisiveness, and Saturn is about divisiveness. Saturn is about separation. We're seeing so much, as within, so without. And I've never seen so much anger and divisiveness. And to recognize there is an agenda here to make this happen. And we're supposed to be in unity consciousness. If unity consciousness is the way forward, and that is really how we create those that are abusing power, which there are many. It is not in their interest for people to be united. So there's, and the other thing is there's so many distractions. It's like, how can we stay grounded in the present moment if they're just constantly throwing stuff, down for us to follow? There's this rabbit hole, that rabbit hole, whatever insignificant thing that the media, which is very corrupted, is all part of this corrupted system paradigm that we're working with, it can keep us distracted and not willing to talk to each other and not willing to discuss what's really happening, and seeing how people are just getting so triggered. And yet there has also been a huge shift. I feel like so many, the new moon of Leo was about awakening, and it feels like there is some awakening happening, some changes that are happening. And I want to show you, in case you're not aware of it, one more picture. Okay, here it is. All right, here's the chart. Okay, here's this. Oh, okay, this is Berlin. There was a huge protest. There are huge protests in many places all over the world, not every place, but in many places like Berlin, London, Korea, Poland, Toronto. Those are the ones that I'm just kind of coming off the top of my head, who are protesting these lockdowns, feeling like they're being manipulated and lied to. And these lockdowns were just excessive, the way they have in response to this virus. And it's just so there's, I don't know how many people were there. I saw everywhere from, 40,000 to 1 million. So I don't know. These are all people here. You can see them all here. They're all down there, and I don't know, but those are the numbers that I heard. And, it's just so important to, at this point in time, and I feel like that we can move mountains at this time if we wake up and we stand together. Okay, there is a force that is here, that is about overpowering us, that is about disempowering us. That's the word I'm looking for, disempowering us. And it has been here a long time, and it's coming to a head. And also what is coming to a head is the places of looking at our own hearts where we have disempowered ourselves, looking at choices that we have made, things that we have believed that are not true, and having the courage to look at them as the veil is falling, to look at what the truth is. Like I have been saying, the veil is falling and the truth is being shown, but will we believe the truth? And I truly believe that this virus is coming through for our own awakening. It is showing us how toxic our world is, toxic world, toxic people. And it is about cleaning up. Mom is wanting to clean up. Mother Earth is wanting to clean things up, but it's coming into our awareness. This virus is very much related to our polluted, toxic environment, and how sick people are, and how they are succumbing to a virus because the world is polluted and toxic, and it is toxic in our own hearts. All of this hatred, anger that is coming to the surface needs to be cleaned out, cleared up. And so if we have the courage to look at that and do our own work, we can clean this world up and we can move through this virus. We don't need a vaccine. This is about a wake-up call. Okay. And so then the last thing I want to talk about is well, just one more thing, and that is it is the fire and the water. It is the alchemical process. There's so much fire right now, and water, and that is the alchemical process. The fire, as it is turned up, that's the crisis. That's what boils everything off that is not authentic, that is not true, that is not real. And then the water comes, and the water is that soothing, and it is it is our emotional connections. It is the emotional support that we have, that we go through these. And what is so important right now is our relationships. That is the most important thing, is our relationships. And so it is so important to not be divided, to be united, and to recognize that we are all going through this together. And the more we emotionally support each other, we can make it through this. As the old is falling, a new world is coming into being. And at the end, and I want to share this last thing, and it is an excerpt from a message from the Hopi elders from 2001. This is the middle of the message, but I feel like this is the part that wants to be shared. There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel like they are being torn apart, and they will suffer greatly. Know the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore, push off towards the middle of the river, keep our eyes open and our heads above the water. See who is there with you and celebrate. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Together, we are the ones that are creating a new earth. We are going through this together. We will do it through this together. And to know that the river does have a destination, to let go of the shore and let the river take us there. All right. Well, hope you all have a wonderful few weeks until I am back with the Virgo new moon. And if you like this video, please subscribe, and you can reach me at sybilstar.com, or just go to my website, sybilstar.com. Be sure to spell it right, SIBYLSTAR. So I do readings, and I have many videos. All right, hoping you all have a wonderful few weeks. Bye.